the Fort Pierce Islamic Center, where Mateen worshipped several times a week, was under investigation by both the FBI and DHS as early as 2011 for ties to worldwide Islamic movement known as Tablighi Jamal, which was linked to several terrorist organizations. But the investigation was shut down under pressure from the Clinton-ran State Department and DHS Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Office out of fear of offending Muslims. According to recently retired DHS agent Philip Haney, the FBI has opened cases twice on him, and yet they found no evidence to charge him. It means they didn't go through the same basic analytical process that I went through over a 3 to 4 hour period, which I was able to link the mosque to the previous cases, he told Roland Daly on Sunday. And we're getting him on the broadcast, if not tomorrow, the next day. That ties into this article. DHS agent Obama erased my intel, then scolded me. So that is happening. Just talked to Farrah about 30 minutes ago. We're going to get all that set up. Let's go out to break. I'm trying to just shut up, and I'm not going to talk over because it makes me so mad. Blaming 50 cals used in one crime in U.S. history. Blaming semi-auto. This guy got it all legally. Worked under DHS. I mean, it's just, how about we just make all the DHS jobs the Muslims, and then they can just kill us more orderly. Here it is.
What to do after these situations? There always winds up being the gun debate. Tell me, in your estimation, what law would have made this situation not happen? What could have made this not a situation where this man was able to get
anti-gunner coma?
Well, first of all, Florida doesn't regulate assault weapons or 50 caliber rifles or large capacity ammunition magazines. It doesn't require a permit to purchase a gun. It doesn't require any registration whatsoever. It doesn't require gun owners to be licensed, and it doesn't require a permit to carry a shotgun or a rifle. It doesn't even require a background check prior to the transfer of a firearm between, non-federally licensed parties. Now, that's a lot of nuts, and I believe strongly that common sense gun safety reform across our country would make a difference. We know the gunman used a weapon of war to shoot down, at least 50 innocent Americans, and we won't even be able to get the Congress to prevent terrorists or people on the no-fly list from buying guns. This is just, totally incomprehensible, Chris. And I think, we've got to get back to, common sense gun safety reform. And we can't fall into the trap that is set up by the gun lobby that says if you can't stop every shooting and every incident, you should not try to stop any. We did have an assault weapons ban for 10 years.
All right, we'll be back. We have seen, obviously, the biggest mass murder in U.S. history using a firearm. Technically, you could argue things like Wounded Knee were worse. And we've been telling you it's coming. I had Tim Kennedy, 15 years, Special Forces. They always say on his UFC profile, former Special Forces. No, he's current Special Forces. And he was here breaking down and confirming the information I got from a Pentagon source higher than him, that there are 6 cities they're planning to hit in the month of Ramadan that just started a few days ago. And obviously it's Orlando again, it's Miami, it's Boston, it's New York, it is San Francisco, L.A. Boston, they're not sure. And believe me, you better know there are Army teams and others right now hunting cells down as we speak. Now, here's the schizophrenia of this whole thing. We have articles, stacks of them here, with DHS whistleblowers, FBI agents, Secret Service, you name it. One of our stories is on drudgereport.com right now. Hillary State Department blocked investigation into Orlando killer's mosque. The imam that's on TV there in Orlando gets up on television and says, kill homosexuals, do them a favor, have compassion when you kill them. We played the clip twice last hour. There's the headline. The exact quote is, gays must die, says Muslim in Orlando mosque. Be compassionate and kill them. And he's so creepy. How do the liberals respond? They blame veterans and conservatives, libertarians, and gun owners. And Hillary, I just played it, says we need to go after semi-automatics, 50 cals, never been used in a crime except one armored car robbery. We need to blame the American people and disarm. Now, I'm not going to go back and pull up my 2 interviews. And he's also been on the Nightly News. There's 3 interviews with Mr. Bracken. I'm not going to do that. Anybody that listens knows that he came on and said he believes before the election you will start seeing attacks, and he says specifically nightclubs. Because that's where you have disarmed people, no guns allowed. This guy was a security guard with a gun license, subcontracting for DHS with his brother-in-law, running a major operation with Obama, bringing in the, quote, refugees. That's why Homeland Security twice ordered the FBI not to even talk to the terrorist, Matin. This is Obama bringing in sleeper cells. This is Merkel and Hollande and all of them in a coordinated event. It's in the news. They land with these jets and don't even check their IDs. 80% military-age men. They bring in 0.7% Christians, even though Syria is 20% Christian or more. And Obama gets up and makes jokes and goes, we got to be fair. We can't just bring in Christians. That's because he is anti-Christian. And I used to hear this 8 years ago and roll my eyes. I just thought he was some CIA double, and it was meant to con the Muslims. They were playing some, divide and conquer, clash of civilizations. I never in my wildest dreams thought that the socialist elite would actually ally with Islam for real. But you know what? They're doing it. I mean, I always knew there was criminal elements working with radical Islam. But my God, they've joined it. Obama wears that ring. He's got all those charms in his pocket. He speaks Arabic better, they say, than top imams. He grew up in a mosque in Indonesia. He really does want to mount America's head on the wall. He really is a sleeper cell. And you've got Hillary Clinton with Benghazi taking out the ambassadors they could ship the weapons in. We had all the whistleblowers on at the time. Had Cy Hirsch, Pulitzer Prize winner, on a few months ago. He came on and said, yes, you've done a great investigation. Yes, this is all accurate. The Pentagon 4 years ago started refusing to go along with Obama's plan to aid al-Qaeda, so Obama changed the name to ISIS. So this isn't a coup against Obama. It's a counter coup to the globalist allied with Islam, with a war going on inside the intelligence agencies and the military where they're being ordered to stand down and not go after these sleeper cells that are directly working for DHS. I remember the headlines, even in the Times of London back off, it was FBI agents saying, it's like they had al-Qaeda above us. They knew every move we were making before we got orders. So here to try to break this down, he'll be with us 30 minutes the next hour, but he's going to be here as a pundit, a guest. We're going to go back and forth, play a lot of clips, also take some of your calls, is Matt Bracken of enemiesforeignanddomestic.com, who basically was here with us just a few months ago saying, a month and a half ago, this is imminent, this is coming down, this is happening. He's an author, former Navy SEAL. Comes highly recommended from Stuart Rose, a lot of other great patriots, and some folks I know at the Pentagon that say, this guy's dead on, have him on. Because they're going to tell you classified stuff. They just go, here, this guy knows exactly what's going on, talk to him. Or, hey, is this accurate, these 6 cities I was told about? Talking to a Delta Force person, they go, well, yeah. And they believe that the attacks are not coordinated, but it's like fire ants that go up your leg. They release a pheromone, and then simultaneously they all start stinging once that one leader gives out the pheromone. So as these attacks happen, they're probing, they're seeing the resolve, they're testing. And the fact that they just keep bringing more refugees in as these attacks happen is emboldening it. So we're going to talk to Matt Bracken. Joe Biggs is on the ground. He'll be co-hosting with us coming up at the start of the next hour as well. Leanne McAdoo is hopping mad. She wants to come in the studio, one of our reporters. It's all over the news, folks. Here in this audience, we know what happened. It's totally clear. More Islamic attack, part of a larger jihad. The Tet 2 that was predicted by our guests just a month ago here on air. In fact, look up Bracken's last visit. I want to give the actual, I think it was a month ago. But in mainstream media, it is, oh my gosh, homophobia. Oh, this is just like conservatives, the attack on poor gays. We need hate crime laws to restrict free speech. We need to ban semi-autos and 50 cals. Rainbow flags everywhere. Nothing about this guy's imam saying go out and kill gays. Nothing about his brother-in-law being a major runner with DHS of these people in. I mean, this is infiltration. There it is, April 27th, 2016. Navy SEAL, massive collapse inevitable. Yeah, that was the first interview. It's the second interview. It was about a week later, and it was the headline was on sleeper cells and Tet 2. The point is you can read his articles from years ago. And you can go see, just 2 weeks ago, Special Forces, top Special Forces soldier says ISIS cells now in the U.S., attacks imminent. That was 2 weeks ago. Tim Kennedy, right here, sitting right here. So this is all going on right now. We've got Army veteran Joe Biggs there on the ground right now. He'll be joining us. But this is just the incredible nature of what we face. Orlando killer worked for company transporting illegal immigrants inside the U.S., was interviewed by FBI 3 times. The president has ordered, outside of law, these private groups to be set up to bring in Chinese, Mexicans, Eastern Europeans, Muslims, Arabs. It's massive. Brother-in-law of nightclub killer hates Trump, works with refugees. Trump better talk about this in his speech today. And I've been talking to Stone. We're trying to get all this to Trump. U.S. probing whether anyone helped gunman in Orlando. Oh, think so? Go to his mosque. Reuters. Imam speaking in Orlando says gays must be killed out of compassion. Omar Mateen, terrorist, was 29-year-old Islamic radical. Orlando killer worked for company transporting. Again, this is what's going on. And ISIS claimed responsibility within hours, and I couldn't find it for 7-8 hours, them even admitting it yesterday. Or even saying he was a Muslim. He pledged allegiance in the 911 call to ISIS. He said, I did this for ISIS. And he was cold and calm, stalling the negotiators outside while he shot more people. I'm going to tell you this. If I'm being held hostage or anybody else, I want the police to storm immediately. I don't want you to sit there on the phone thinking he's going to stop while he's capping people, taking his time. Storm him, kill him. Just like they did with the tower shooter. And yeah, folks, I've had somebody in Dallas repeatedly, twice, pull guns on me. I took the guns away from them. I'm not claiming I'm the toughest guy in the world, but we need the police default to storm. Now, I'm not a former guy trained in anti-terrorism like our next guest, but that's what needs to be done. When they do storm it quicker, there's a lot less deaths. That's what the Russians do. But now, going to our guest, I appreciate you coming on, sir. Good to have you with us. Of course, the website for folks that want to visit it is enemiesforeigndomestic.com. I'm going to skip this one break because we got to make some sacrifices around here to be able to cover all this. This is so insane. I want to get into what happened, the details, your prediction, unfortunately coming true, your next predictions. Tim Kennedy said the intel is they're going to double the attacks every year. That's the uncoordinated plan, but that's the metric. So I want to talk about that with you. Do you agree with that? But overall, in general, what is the motive? Do you disagree with what I'm saying by Obama and the concerted left worldwide allied with radical Islam? How it's quite a trick to get their super liberal constituency to blame conservatives and veterans and patriots and libertarians and survivalists when we're the people that are right warning them and they're in love with radical Islam. I mean, is this just a form of bondage? Is it a form of cuckolding? What is happening here? Is it Stockholm syndrome, Mr. Bracken?
I found a terrific quote recently by, of all people, going into the Wayback Machine, Ilyich Ramirez Sanchez, a.k.a. Carlos the Jackal. Now, he's in prison in France for life. When you have to do some pretty bad things in France to get life in prison, like murder a bunch of people. Back in the 70s, the PLO was allied with the German Baader-Meinhof and Red Brigades. So it was sort of like a left and Islam coalition, which seemed to have gone away, but Carlos the Jackal wrote a foreword to an Islamist book recently from prison. Of course, they let him do that. You know, he's got like a suite in prison. And it says that only a coalition of Islamist and socialist forces can defeat the United States. And in the Obama administration, we get a twofer. We've got them both covered, raised by Frank Marshall Davis in Hawaii, the communist, and then trained in madrasa schools. So we've got both of them in one, folded together in one. After the Benghazi attack, there were hearings at the State Department. A State Department official came out with a quote that should be in everybody's mind. The Taliban is inside the building. He was referring to Huma Abedin, Valerie Jarrett, and others who are allied closely with the Muslim Brotherhood. When Obama came in, he had all of the law enforcement and intelligence agency doctrines and training methods purged of any mention of Islamic jihad. Imagine trying to fight World War II, but you were